Is this SRK return to the big screen after a 3-year long hiatus worth it? Does the YRF spy universe start with a big bang? In simple words, is Pathaan worth a watch? Why did you stick around to know the answers? Hi guys, just back from watching the first show of Pathaan in theatres, and this is what I thought about it. Me, like millions of other kids brought up on a staple diet of Bollywood films right through the 90s, have grown up watching and idealizing Shah Rukh. While off late there has been a lot of hate spewing around this man back in the 90s, it would be rather tough to find someone who didn't like him. He could be playing a creepy psychopath, a misogynist, an arrogant lover, or a boy next door. The audience just loved him and lapped up everything with arms wide stretched. That same audience is now older and have their own families. Their interest in movies have changed. They've grown wiser, perhaps more mature maybe. But deep down, there's still that SRK fan alive. That fan who's waiting for his idol to deliver. That fan who wants to cheer for a film that his idol deserves. That fan who has been deprived of the SRK-ness for so many years. When the trailer of Pathaan dropped a few months ago, that fan inside all of us resurfaced. It resurfaced with a smile, with hope, and with that similar feeling of old times. That feeling and hope is the main reason for the historic advance booking that Pathaan has been seeing despite the boycott calls all across social media. Now that the movie is here, I'm happy to report to you that that fan is happy. Not over the moon, giddy or jumping with joy, but also not underwhelmed, unhappy or disappointed. Pathaan is a solid comeback film for SRK, the star, and especially for all of his fans. Story-wise, Pathaan is an over-the-top spy action thriller about a raw agent who goes missing for many years until he resurfaces when the country needs him the most. Now he and his team have to go against a maniac terror outfit called Outfit X, led by the charismatic ex-raw agent called Jim, who is smart, calculative and vengeful. So what is Pathaan's plan? Who helps him? Who betrays him? How he saves the country? Sometimes inventive, sometimes predictable answers to these questions form the rest of the film. Directed by Siddhanand, this guy, who started off making romantic comedies like Salam Namaste and Bachna Hai Hasino, has over the last few years developed a reputation of being the big Hollywood-style action director with films like Bang Bang and War under his belt. While the form and the treatment here is nothing extraordinary or memorable, it serves the purpose. Now, the trope of telling the story in a non-linear way just so that you could create more suspense and engagement is old school. But the actor's charisma and the relentless action set pieces which keeps coming one after another, especially the handheld fight choreography, manage to get your attention back to the screen whenever it threatens to waver. This is particularly true right just before the interval where the romantic angle kicks in between Pathaan's character and Rubina, played fantastically by Deepika Padukone. Sid and his writers, after the Dhoom Dhadaka in the beginning and the character entries, decide to take a quick detour to a rom-com style heist planning. This bit is clearly forced, but surprisingly it works. Not so much for the direction or the writing, but for the sheer charm and sizzling chemistry between the leads. Both Shah Rukh and Deepika Padukone seem to be feeding off each other and having a lot of fun in this stretch, till the twist comes in right before the interval. Now, as per my opinion, a good globe-trotting spy thriller relies on two main aspects. One, how interesting is the cat and mouse chase between the protagonist, our hero, and antagonist, the villain. Ideally, you want things to be even, with the circumstances and the situation favoring the antagonist just slightly more. The reason for this is simple. The tougher you make for the hero to win, the higher the kick when he finally does it. Pathaan's screenplay does a great job of this. Johnabraham's character is shown at least 2 or 3 steps ahead of all the characters right throughout the film. The odds are almost always heavily stacked against Pathaan, which makes the win in the end earned and deserved. The second most important aspect is how the screenplay uses the ticking clock plot device effectively. The ticking clock plot device is set up to build tension. Ideally, with each reveal, each twist, the story should gather momentum, the urgency and the stakes should rise and slowly build to a nail-biting climax. It is in this aspect where the movie flatters a little bit. So while the stake does rise from a kidnap to a robbery to an all-out biological warfare, you don't feel the tension rise. You don't get the feel of real-world danger. At least I didn't. Even the underpass CGI work, especially the earliest truck fight scene and all those flying scenes between Jim and Pathaan, also doesn't really help the believability bit. The two most interesting characters are clearly Jim and Rubina, but sadly the film isn't interested in exploring these characters a little bit more. But खैर 2 घंटे की तो film है, क्या क्या explore करोगे? So yeah, apart from these minor squibs, overall Pathaan plays out all the beats required for a pacey action thriller to keep you hooked, including the perfectly timed and well choreographed superstar cameo that happens right in the middle of the film. This is perhaps one of the few Bollywood films that has used a superstar cameo exactly as it should. Instead of it just being a dialogue cameo or a walk-in role, an entire action set piece is dedicated for this. As a result, it also sets up the next film in the YRF spy universe. Yeah, I know what you're all saying. I mean, this happens in every Marvel film, so what's new about it? Yeah, I know it's not new, but god damn it works. You also have to appreciate Sid's decision of going the war way rather than the Ekta Tiger way, because where you see the main characters bleed and get hurt rather than the Ekta Tiger way where nothing really happens to Sallubai. Dimple Kapadia delivers a superb performance. I particularly enjoyed the light touch of humor and wit that they gave to her character. Reminded me of Judi Dench in James Bond films. And SRK, what can you say about this man that has already not been said? In his 32nd year in films and his 110th film, he's still a freaking force to reckon with. Still capable of holding the entire film on his own, still smiling, joking, romancing and kicking ass. It is great to see him in his elements and thoroughly enjoying what he's doing right now. Although I think he's absolutely done with romancing, it clearly shows. What doesn't show is the man's age. He's ripped as F, performing insane action and jumping off trains and choppers. So this by no means is SRK's best film. Heck, it doesn't even come in his top 10. But it's good. And that's enough for a fan, for now. This SRK 3.0 looks promising, with Jawan and Dunki coming later this year. Here's hoping that 2023 be the year of SRK. So on the bench meter, this one's slightly above average. There are more reasons to watch the film than not. Catch it in the theatre near you.